R. Kelly was found overdosed in the same prison that I reported on just a week ago, where he had multiple hits put on him by the Aryan Brotherhood. However, they found R. Kelly overdosed after many warnings from Aryan Brotherhood dropouts that were having to handle the hit, saying they were going to poison his food, stab him, or whatnot. And he asked to be moved into protective custody, and they refused. Now let's keep it real. He is a rapist. He is a pedophile. And it just shows you in prison, it doesn't matter how much money you have or what you don't have or what you do have. When you fuck around and hurt kids, you can get extorted. Remember, he was beaten up by that Latin king. He's had some major issues. He's over at this prison, and it gets deep. So let's get into that. So R. Kelly suffered a serious medication overdose in prison, hospitalized with blood clots. Chomo R. Kelly, however, exposed a murder conspiracy plot involving prison officials and an Aryan Brotherhood inmate, with threats of poisoning and beating to cover up their actions. While this was going on, his team was seeking home confinement, while prosecutors dismissed the claims as manipulative stunts. I remember that's that same prosecutor who made fake emails and did a lot of other shiesty shit, threatened witnesses, even hired his Chomo roommate when he was still in the holding tank in the federal facility to steal his legal mail and all that. Check out my previous video. I go deep into the conspiracy. Emergency court filing, June 10th. Kelly's attorney, B.O. Brenly, filed an emergency motion seeking home confinement, alleging a collusion between Bureau of Prison officials and Aryan Brotherhood inmates to kill Kelly and silence evidence of alleged corruption. Other inmates from other organizations and other racial politics said, nah, the guard stepped to us and said, he's messing up the money. You want to take the hit? Now, the Aryan Brotherhood dropout, who dropped out because he didn't want to go through with this hit allegedly, also said the officers told him, just take another rapist off the books. Whether you think it's a full-on conspiracy or just typical prison politics, a dude that's snitching, bringing too much heat, getting everybody knocked off, and he's a rapist, well, they can't extort him anymore because he's checking in. There's only one more thing to do. But let's get more into it as it gets deeper. Where the first guy that rolled wasn't ever confirmed as an Aryan Brotherhood member, David Keith Harris was. He's a confirmed Aryan Brotherhood member with high ranking who caught 50 years in prison for the crimes he committed to better influence and protect and provide for the gang. He was in Kelly's unit and was allegedly approached by Bureau of Prison officials on June 6 to carry out a similar plot, reportedly involving poisoning meals or commissary goods. Through audio and all other documents, it does confirm that at least 2 inmates were recruited. High-level officials used their positions to orchestrate inmate murders of Kelly. Kelly's private communications were allegedly stolen from his cellmate and used against him during trial. Bureau of Prison staff reportedly warned Kelly to avoid the mess hall due to the possible poisoning. Avoid the mess hall was the direct advice. June 10th, Kelly loses access to group housing, enters solitary confinement with his regular medication. June 11th, his legal team files the emergency motion exposing murder for hire allegation. June 12th, following the motion, Kelly is allegedly given an overdose of meds, collapsing in his cell. He is taken by ambulance to Duke University Hospital. Diagnosed with blood clots, doctor calls for surgery and continued care. Within an hour, he is forcibly removed and returned to solitary. Medical treatment is cut short. While I look for more information, this is a basic summary of the overdose. But to understand the hit and everything that led up to the politics, check out the other video. But the summary is this. R. Kelly allegedly suffered a near-fatal overdose in prison, quickly hospitalized with clots, then forcibly returned to his solitary cell. He claims a coordinated murder-for-hire plot orchestrated by the Bureau of Prison officials and Aryan Brotherhood inmates Stein and Harris with promises of escape and poisoning methods. The legal team is pushing for emergency home confinement, warning of cruel and unusual punishment with potential death. Only 2 inmates are named, Stein and Harris. The Bureau of Prison has not confirmed any of these claims, and no independent evidence has emerged beyond the court filings. Yeah, it could be a conspiracy and dirty politics, but listen, these officers, these agencies, they're all full of shit. I agree. Trust me, I've dealt with it to the fullest. I see what they do to the kids. But that's what we're going to talk about. How many of these kids really, really just got completely just hurt and left in the dust when this case came. And it's like, all we talk about is reality of these chomos, these pedophiles, these rapists, all these pieces of shits, right? When they go to prison, they get tortured, destroyed, but they don't have the luxury to reach out and say it's a conspiracy because I'm the king of R&B. I won't deny there was definitely a lot of bullshit that happened in this case, but you can't deny that he was definitely definitely messing with young girls in some weird, horrific ways. And when you have all that influence, power, you can have anything you want in the world and you choose those little girls, you're a chomo pedophile. So this might just be simple shit. You dealt with a criminal justice system that's corrupt as fuck, that doesn't care about the kids, doesn't care about anything. They only care about what they can save money on so the kids suffer and how to win cases to make money. And you go to prison and you think it's gonna be different. You get in there, you're attacked by a Latin king who said he did it because he wanted to show prison corruption. You know, that's weird. You'll see that in the video prior to this. And also, you have a bad charge. You trying to roll with vice lords in certain organizations, they're not going to accept you. Them Rukins, them lords, they don't fuck with that. A lot of times in certain prisons, everybody has a role to play. Some of the dope hustlers, some of the hitters, you know, and it's not always the racial politics unless a racial situation pops off. But everything every man in prison agrees with is those chomos have to go. But one thing I'll say is that prosecutor, as I talk real deep in the other video, he's a piece of shit. Let's be honest. He did a lot of shady shit to convict R. Kelly, hacking into the emails, having the chomo steal his paperwork. Okay, I agree with that. But at the end of the day, you're a grown man with millions of dollars, the king of R&B, and you still chose little kids. You know what that means to me? 100%. If you didn't have none of that, you would be pulling them in a little van, for real. You just had the resources, influence to make it look different. However, the game's corrupted, but I have no pity. What I've seen happen to kids and these chomo motherfuckers, I don't care about none of them, period. These kids get tortured. These kids go through so much that there is no pity in my heart. I see how the system destroys them. I was one of those kids. I see it every day. But if you're in solitary confinement and you're given some type of dope or you overdose, what that means is maybe he was scared, tried to commit suicide. Maybe this was a stunt that he jumped on the, you know, the tread and just wanted to ride it out. Or maybe they hit him up and laced his shit. You never know. But you always have to look at reality. It doesn't matter how great you are. When you hurt children, you are nothing. Once were the predator, you are now dealing with the monsters. And you are now dealing with predators. But they're not trying to get what you were trying to get. They're trying to get the money, the power, the extortion, and they're trying to get a name for themselves, all while wiping anybody who hurts women and children in those ways off the face of the earth. But who knows? Maybe it's all conspiracy and I'm wrong. Fuck it. But leave our kids alone, for real. Stay out. Stay free. Us.